We're coming to you here from the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi, Kenya, where the 2024 annual meetings of the African Development Bank Group kicked off on a high note. This year's theme focuses on Africa's transformation and the reform of the global financial architecture, which will be taking place alongside statutory meetings of the shareholders and the bank governors of the AfDB group. Some of the key highlights of the first day of the annual meetings was a media briefing by the African Development Bank President, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, where he spoke about the need for raising concessional financing for Africa, increasing investment in renewable energy investment, and the bank's strides in the energy sector.
You cannot industrialize in the dark, you cannot be competitive in the dark, and you cannot grow economies. You have no power. The global financial architecture itself needs to be changed to be able to make sure that African countries are not penalized, especially when they access global capital markets. Let me explain myself here, and it's a very fundamental issue you will hear right through these annual meetings, and that is the so-called Africa risk premium. You hear it all the time. You know, the Africans are borrowing, countries are borrowing more at high premium rates, yield curves above those of others that have similar ratings as African countries. So what I mean by that is there needs to be a fairer assessment of Africa's risk, because UNDP shows that if Africa's risks are properly and fairly estimated, that African countries will save $75 billion a year just in debt service that they have. So there's a big agenda when we talk about the global financial architecture, is the whole issue of how we look at the proper assessment of Africa's risk and so on. And of course, you all know that we've been working very well on the issue of the special drawing rights, and I'm pleased that together with the Inter-American Development Bank and the IMF, that as African Development Bank, we don't invest in oil, and we don't invest in coal either. 80, I think what is it 85 or what is it, 83, 85% of all our financing in energy goes to renewable energy. Natural gas remains a fundamental part of the energy mix for Africa. Africa will not be able to industrialize without natural gas.
Other key conversations were on renewable energy investment, a high-level dialogue on innovation financing for tertiary education in Africa, and the role of the private sector, including updates on the climate action window. Our reporting will also include key announcements from the AfDB and its African and global partners, as well as initiatives aimed at tackling some of the continent's most pressing development challenges.
One of the biggest issues that we've seen is that in a lot of the DFI's projects that we support, and also countries trying to access climate finance, there's a lack of understanding of the climate change rationale which is needed.
African institutions don't have the projects to be able to access some of these climate funds that we were talking about, and to an extension, DFIs are facing this issue.
For all our daily reporting, updates, and interviews, please visit our website at www.frontierafricareports.com and across all our social media platforms. Reporting for Frontier Africa Reports, I am Justina Okechukwu at the KICC in Nairobi, Kenya.